Hi guys, welcome to our roadside edition of Culture Cops, I guess. Waz is going to put me on to some things that are going on. I'm Nico, and of course this is Waz. And it's just some like industry tea, but as you know, like we're really into ballroom and voguing and dance period, anything about the dance culture, like we're really into it. And of course, Waz is a dancer. I used to dance. I'm a fossil now, so I don't. I need my hips to work. So there's just some things going on in the dance community that he was telling me about, and these people are like people that we've kind of like fell in love with from a distance, because I don't know Yanis personally, but I've seen a lot of his videos and really enjoy his artistry.
Yeah, so sorry about that. So pretty much, and I mean, I like Yanis has taken down the post, but there was so in the ballroom scene, there's certain rules and regulations that you have to follow as far as like where you stand, who's in the crowd, who's like who's behind the judges, who's in front of the judges, who's in the area of where the dancers are performing. So for those of you that don't know who Yanis Marshall is, he's actually a famous French dancer, and he dances in hills. So he teaches a lot of hill classes all over the world, and he's a very, very well-known dancer.
Right.
Now, he was invited to a voguing, a battle scene, and pretty much, long story short, he was in the section for icons, legends, and pioneers, and he was sitting, and they stopped all the music and they shined the spotlight on him, and they pretty much were like, you know, I guess in a way he took it as they were trying to embarrass him type of thing, because they had said multiple times that if you're not a legend, icon, or pioneer, you can't sit in those seats behind the judges or in that section. So to Yanis's his side of the argument was that he didn't hear any of that stuff, or when he got there he didn't know or didn't hear any of that stuff, and he was like, he just took a seat because, you know, he had been teaching classes and all this other stuff.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Yanis just took a seat.
Yeah.
He wasn't like led to this seat, and he didn't feel like privy to go sit there. He just was trying to find somewhere to sit his ass down.
So that's what Yanis is saying. So okay. Yanis is saying that he sat in the seat,
right,
and he was with a friend of his that actually is super involved in the ballroom scene.
Okay.
And he said they sat down together. So, you know, he didn't think about any of the like logistics of the ballroom scene or any of that stuff. As to his defense, he says that he just sat there just to enjoy the event, right?
Okay.
Now, to the commentators, the commentators are actually the ones that addressed it, Yanis. One of the commentators, I forgot what his name is, but I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna post it under this video. He made a video as well addressing Yanis, saying that he did clearly state, and prior to Yanis being, I guess, kind of embarrassed, he had put somebody else on the spot about sitting in that section as well. So it wasn't like he was just...
So I'm just trying to gather my thoughts about why isn't Yanis considered an icon, a legend, or a pioneer?
Because they don't feel like he contributed to the Vogue community. And Yanis even said it himself that he's had many job opportunities to do Vogue dancing, and he tells them no because he doesn't consider himself a Voguer.
Right.
So for him, and like the commentator was saying, like, men dancing in hills has always been a thing for them. So when they were looking at like big deal dancers within their own community, they already feel like they have that, as far as celebrity and things of that nature. Because he said when he called them out, he knew exactly who he was talking to.
Right.
So the really big, I guess, dilemma with that is, you know, like Yanis said, he didn't know that those things were the case as far as like, you know, the event and things of that nature, and he felt very offended.
So why wasn't Yanis sitting in like a VIP section or something like that anyway? Because even if he's not a pioneer or a legend or an icon as far as Vogue is considered, he's still in his own right an icon.
Yeah, I mean, really I feel like to go as far as to say he's not an icon or gonna be or is legendary now, because he's broken a lot of different barriers, being that he's from a different country, one, and two, if like, you know, granted, I personally I'm involved in the ballroom scene. I dance with Voguers. I love the Vogue community. I know how catty they can be when it comes to outsiders. That's just how it just kind of seems like that's the whole entire basis of the situation, is that Yanis isn't from that community, and they don't feel like he deserved the right. Which to that sense, they are correct. He does not have the right to sit in that place or position when it comes down to, you know, the legends and icons of Vogue. But to go as far as to say, you know, and I don't think that's what the commentator was saying. He was just saying that in the world of Vogue, he's not a legend, icon, or pioneer.
I guess I would have to agree if they're being like technical.
Yeah, he was being very specific. He was being very specific.
Vogue can be very technical, so I get it. If they're being specific, then I get it. And I mean, I don't personally think that Vogue, you know, like that world that it's like a cattiness. I think it's because this world was underground for so long. And I mean, not just underground here. Like when I used to dance, guys didn't Vogue if they weren't gay, you know, and if you did, you were scrutinized and made fun of. So to be like underground and do things in secret and live double lives just to like be yourself, I get like there's a hedge of protection around the Vogue community because people are like, we fought for this. So I get it. It's kind of like, and I don't, you know, you don't like want to compare race to certain things, but it's kind of like how I can't stand when people like culture jack. Don't jack my culture. Like give proper, you know, credit to the right people. Like some people give cornrows and certain types of braids to like Bo Derek, but Black women have been wearing those hairstyles for years before Bo Derek, like, you know, in Africa and other places. So I get them trying to protect their culture, and in that right of the situation, I get it, but maybe not being so like about it.
Yeah, because he was even saying like they don't care who you are. But my thing is like, I feel like, and this is a lesson that I feel like no matter what community you're involved in, there's plenty of people that have had to fight for something. Like the hip hop era, that's my main dance style. The pioneers of hip hop had to fight for that position to compete against like classical dancing. Like that's what they were going up against when they had to, you know, figure out a place to fit in the world when it came down to performing and being mainstream. They were getting compared to people that did ballet or tap dance or did, you know, contemporary. Like there was a lot of different social norms that they had to break in order for them to get to where they're at. Now, the way that you approach someone is very important because to me, you, regardless of, you know, granted you have certain rules and regulations, like that's with anything. I've been to battles where you can't stand over there, the DJ needs to be over there, or, you know, whatever it might be. You still have to have some form of respect for individuals that are coming to show love, because you don't know, like, one, it's just like not even just that you don't know who a person is, but people are still people regardless of the whole hierarchy or who paved this way or who paved that way. You like, you know, it's all about being human. And I feel like it's more about the love of sharing your community, because if you really think about it, like what's the entire purpose of having this closed-in community? And
that's like what we said about church. We say this about church, and we give a lot of examples when we're describing things, because some people need an example to figure out what the, you know, comparison is. But just like at church, like church is not just meant for saved people and Christians, because if you're all preaching to each other, then who are you saving? Who are you helping? You know, who are you delivering? So it's really important to make sure you are including other people. And for some reason, we love to exclude. Like, I don't have a problem with white women enjoying our culture and coming in and asking me questions and certain things like that. And I get it. Because I ask Asian women questions all the time about their culture and the food and certain things in their country that I don't understand here or whatever. But there is a level of respect that you have to have intact when you're asking somebody those things, because the last thing I want is for somebody to put their hands in my head and then ask me a question like, you're liable to get cursed out. I'm probably gonna pop the hell out your hand like you're 5, because it's boundary crossing. So you do want to be respectful, and I get it. Before pose was a thing, before all these things became popular, we don't want to say that these people are bandwagoners. By no means do we want to say that, because you want to bring attention to the culture. You want people to understand where it came from and derived from and why it is so protected. And I think the show definitely
and honestly, I hear a lot of especially people in the Vogue community, especially since so Pose has been out for what, a few months now at this point.
No,
or it's a year or so, or second season. So it's,
right?
so it's been a year or more. Now I started voguing this about 3 years ago now, I think. Yeah, 2. Is it 3 or 2?
I think it's 3.
It's 3. Yeah, so I started voguing about 3 years ago. So this is before all this hype. I met Slim Ninja and Jason Ninja, and all of that. Like, I met all these voguers way before it was super.
His name is Lamar.
Yeah, he's Lamar on the show. So I met him way back. And for me, I genuinely wanted to learn how to vogue. But I noticed that now I hear a lot of voguers, like, they're kind of upset because they feel like people are learning just to get the clout from the entire thing. Right. Now, the thing, or the catch-22 with that, is that it's like, yes, it is true that is happening, but at the same time, it's like you should be happy as well, because this is also the entire buildup of what everyone wanted for the entire culture was to become mainstream and recognized as something that everybody wants to do. Now, what other people do with it is honestly, you have to just let other people do what they do. As far as like the whole like using it for clout and trying to learn it and things of that nature. Now, there's another person named Brian Friedman. Not a while. It was actually about a year ago. I think it was about a year ago. He had a very similar, if not worse, situation than Yanis, because he tried to pretty much create a dance scene or dance.
And what was he calling it?
He was calling it ballroom. So it had nothing to do with anything ballroom related as far as in the Vogue world.
Yeah.
But he was pretty much taking the name of what the Vogue community created, and he was trying to apply it to his own platform for something he was making for regular dancers.
And it was kind of funky, because he was making it seem like he originated
it,
of this situation. And I remember him being very apologetic, but I remember Laomi was like,
a lot of people didn't give him any wiggle room for that. They definitely hammered him for it.
They will come for you.
And I think one of the craziest things is that actually with this situation happened in Yanis, he hopped up under the post and was like, I feel your pain. And, I only have love for the Vogue community.
Right.
Now, of course, because people do feel like, and a lot of people did say that they felt that him and Yanis's position or the situations that they've had in the Vogue community are very different. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people actually hopped up under Brian Friedman's comment and started biting his head off. Right. And they were like, no, you tried to steal culture.
Totally different, right?
You did, and it wasn't like a lack of understanding. They felt as though he knew exactly what he was doing.
Right, he knows exactly what he was doing, but he wasn't giving credit where credit was due. And you can't you literally took a whole name, a whole culture, and tried to make it your own. Like,
yeah, so it's like I get it, and that even for me, like one of the hardest things, like even though I'm learning Vogue, and I try to engulf myself in the culture as much as possible. I don't feel like I'm at a place to where I can call myself a voguer.
Right.
Only because I feel like there's so much more for me to learn to gain that true status. Like if anybody asks me like, what do you consider yourself as a dancer? I'm gonna say a hip hop dancer or all styles dancer.
Yeah.
I'll say new styles dancer. But if somebody asks me like, oh, do you consider yourself a voguer? I'm gonna say no, because I don't feel like I've gained the expertise to be a voguer yet. I'm working on it. But I feel like there's like, it's with anything. It's, it takes practice and a lot of showing up to the ballroom scene. For example, for the Vogue community, you got to show up to those events to gain that status. And I get that was the whole entire point, was that these people have shown up to these events year after year after year to pave way for these people that are now performing in them. And it's like I get it. It's just common courtesy at that point. But I do feel like for people that don't have a lot of knowledge of that scene, you do have to tread a different way, I would say. I don't want to say tread lightly, but you have to just go a different route when it comes to approaching those people, because you don't want people to shy away from the community because you don't care. You don't want that to be a reason of why you treat somebody a certain way, because a lot of people were also saying that they felt that Yanis was wrong because he has such a huge following, and they felt like his little embarrassment and then him checking the embarrassment on his social media dragged the situation out into a bigger situation, because he has like, I think like he's up there. He's like almost 1 million followers, something like that, if not more. Yeah, like if not more. So a lot of people felt like he was dragging the situation out into something bigger because he made a post about it. But I feel like at the end of the day, in terms of people interacting with people, we're all human. And, no one can say 100% that he didn't know or he did this because he wanted to maliciously. It's like I said, it's all about, just communicating differently. And that was one of the things that I feel like on both sides could have happened, was, communicating to each other a certain way, so that no one really felt as if they were being attacked. Because that's really what it seemed like. The commentator felt like Yanis' response to what he said was him attacking him, but Yanis felt like him putting him on the spot like that was attacking him. So it's just really at that point just trying to figure out a way to accommodate each other, especially at the level that everyone is at. Like, these aren't just people that are new to the game or like they just started dancing or they're new to the community. Like, they're very, very, very experienced at what they do, or very high in expertise at what they do. So I feel like when you're at that level and you have all these people watching you and you're of influence, you have to approach things differently, because whatever you do, it trickles down the line and people feel like they can just do it as well. Right. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm like waving to people on live at the same time while we're shooting our video. Well, in closing, I would just like to say, don't check me when I come to a Vogue event, because I got jokes for days and I will come for you too. Okay? No, so. I get it. I get it. You come into someone's home, you respect their rules, you respect, all the requirements that allow you to sit there. I get it. And like I said, Yanis definitely has an iconic background. Like he's an icon. Like he really, really is, and he's done a lot. He's not only has he been a great choreographer and dancer, but he's created a lot of things, and he's also been on shows, he's been on TV, he's published, he's great. But I get it, and you do have to demand the respect sometimes, because people will come into your community and just feel like they can kind of willy-nilly. And for a very long time, I think that usually it's the other way around. Usually it's like we don't think that our community is valuable, and other nationalities come in and buy up stores and certain things, and then we go and we buy our products from them, and they're not even a part of our culture. So as far as ballroom and voguing, the community of voguers knew that gift and those talents are valuable. There's no question of that. But now other people are seeing how valuable it is, and a lot of people are learning vogue classes that were like kind of empty or really didn't have anyone coming to them, or a few people that would trickle in and that were consistent. Now these classes are full, honey, like. And so you see how people are now intrigued by it, which is very good. It is. But I guess there has to be some sort of balance where you may have to say something to people here and there. Do I think that Yanis should have addressed it online? I think that when you have a platform, you use it any way you freaking feel like it. If I want to get online and I want to talk about the fact that I don't want to see your track, I can. Because it's my page. It's called mine for a reason. It's called freedom of speech for a reason. So do I think he was proper by doing that? Do whatever you want. It's a free country. You can't. Well, it ain't free. We've been lying for years saying that. But yeah, I think that he can do what he wants to do. And then, you come together and you handle it, but you respect, just like how you want him to respect the fact that you checked him and didn't want him sitting in the area. You respect the fact that he decided to take to his social media, because we do live in a technology age. Someone could have seen it. Someone could have heard about the tea and said something. So I'm thinking he took to his social media to let everybody know real quick, like, this is what happened. And
yeah, because in the video, a lot of people were like, oh my God, that's Yanis Marshall. Like, people knew who he was.
Oh, so it was on video.
Yeah, they recorded. They were like, oh my God, that's Yanis Marshall. Well, like, people were like, oh my God, like, he's not.
I would have probably taken to my social media too.
Yeah, so it wasn't like it was just this whole like hoopla. Like, and I understood where Yanis was coming from as well, because like I said, being that I'm still, I guess what you would consider a baby in Vogue, there's a lot of things I still have to understand and learn. And that, I mean, honestly, I didn't know until I seen that there was seating for icons, legends, and pioneers.
But that's why
I just thought that's what the judges said.
That's why I like Jason Slim Ninja, who's Lamar on Pose, because he even educates you on what a dip is. What certain things are, because we've been calling a dip a death drop, right?
Yeah,
is that what I was calling? Yeah. I was calling a dip a death drop for years, and believe it or not, so was everyone else. You know what I mean? And I mean, I remember having an argument with somebody like, that's a death drop. Oh, no, sis, that's not a death drop. That's a dip. And it's like, why would you call it a dip? Because you've been calling it a death drop for so long. But he educates you, because even terminology is like very, very important when it comes
and that's with
to the Vogue community. Yeah, and I mean, and with all types of dance and art, you want to use the correct terminology. And I mean, there's people out there like Jason that are going to educate you gracefully. And then there are some people out there that's going to bite your head off. I mean, that's just what some people do. And that's their personality and their temperament. And you got to respect it. That's who you are. That's who you are. I don't think either person was being malicious. But I do think, like, at some point we all need to be on the same page and just understand that we're all lovers of the arts, and we're all creatives, and we all respect what other people do. And if there's a misunderstanding, handle it the right way. Like, we don't need to be out here beefing when we already are minorities. We already live in communities that are stricken with enough. We don't need to add to it. And these aren't people that are like in those areas either. We're creating drama that doesn't need to be created.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for tuning in to our roadside shenanigans.
Our roadside shenanigans, the culture cops. We're definitely gonna be doing some on the location filming with a couple of people very soon. And we've been kind of like moving around, literally. We moved. So we're getting in the groove of certain things, and there's a lot to come, especially our Culture Cops merch. That is coming. We just want to make sure that the designs are appropriate, and we're not trying to bring you, like, we have to bring like you something like that's fire, because anything else would be uncivilized. It wouldn't be very culture cop appropriate. So that's coming by this time next year when Fashion Week rolls around. Hopefully hopefully we'll be scouting people to be on the runway with our clothes, you know? So those things take time, and we hope you guys support, like, subscribe, share, and yeah.
All right, guys.
For the
Peace.
culture.